Welcome to Wild Breakaway. Alongside Wes Walz, I'm Audra Martin. The excitement and the anticipation surrounding the Minnesota Wild has been palpable for the last few weeks, even longer than that, especially when this team hired new head coach Bruce Boudreau, because his track record speaks for himself. Unfortunately, tonight for the Minnesota Wild, the new era of hockey here in the state of hockey starts with a loss. They fall 3-2 to the St. Louis Blues, especially seeing a slow start from the Minnesota Wild. Never want to see that, and that was killer tonight.
Yeah, they come up a little bit short, obviously. A goal short in St. Louis. Vladimir Tarasenko is the one guy going into the game, if you're the Minnesota Wild, that you got to focus on to shut down. He scored 40 goals 2 or 3 years in a row, and the next guy for the St. Louis Blues has 17 or 18. The Wild did a great job shutting him down, but were unable to shut down some of the other Wild players. The Wild got off to a really slow, sluggish start. They looked like they were a little bit nervous, did not have a whole lot of jump. I thought they played really well in the third period. We're able to get the game back to within 3-2. We're able to get the goalie out with a minute left, but just were not able to get that last goal to sneak out of St. Louis with at least a point.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't get their first shot on goal until 8.5 minutes into this game. So shots, of course, falls in favor of the Blues, 31-21. 0 for 5 on the power play for the Wild tonight, but they were perfect 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. It's one game, but that is a good place to start when it comes to special teams. Now, again, the slow start was the deciding factor probably here tonight. The Blues, already with a game in hand, had a little bit of their legs already underneath them, and Bruce Boudreau says that was a factor tonight.
The attempted shots were almost the same. Yeah. I mean, we shot wide, hit crossbar, but I mean, they definitely had the play. They were moving their feet, and I was thinking that last night was such an advantage for them to have already played a fast-paced game, knowing what it is, and this is not an excuse, but we were a step behind, it seemed, all night long.
So here's a look at what's next for the Minnesota Wild. They return home Saturday to take on the Winnipeg Jets. We will get things started at 5 o'clock right here on Fox Sports North. Then from there, we'll see the Kings and the Toronto Maple Leafs, which means Austin Matthews. That's going to be exciting. But first things first, it's the Jets, a team we just saw not too long ago in the preseason, where, it went in favor of the Minnesota Wild, but the Winnipeg Jets are a team that you can point to and say they should be better than where they were last year. Now it's just a matter if the Wild can shut them down. Yeah,
the Winnipeg Jets finished at the bottom of the Central Division, but for whatever reason, they seem to have the Wild number last year, winning 4 of the 5 games. Obviously, everyone knows in the XL Energy Center that they like to pile into the buses up in Winnipeg and track down the 6 hours to St. Paul. So there's going to be a good chunk of Winnipeg Jets fans there. So Minnesota Wild fans, we got to get behind our boys there. Obviously, it was not a great performance tonight by the Minnesota Wild, but I really do expect the Wild to get back in home ice and get the fans behind them, and I expect them to have a great effort Saturday night.
Well, and the atmosphere is going to be awesome as always, but of course, like you said, when you add in the Jets, it makes it that much better. We look forward to seeing that performance, seeing you all out there at the XL Energy Center. For Wes Walz, I'm Audra Martin. Thanks for joining us on Wild Breakaway.